Inspanning Gateway, we're going to talk about theory. It's good to understand this concept because this world operates based off of theory, especially when it comes to germ theory, and that gets deep once we get to the spiritual aspect of that eventually. But we have to have a foundational knowledge of what theory is and how it originated, what its origins are, how it is used, its meaning, purpose, and reason for it. And that is the spiritual principles, the spiritual aspect of how to see the word theory and that energy and how that word is used. um I'm going to read the definition of the word theory at its source. We're going to read just the source of how we're first able to identify theory. Okay, so the source of theory, the root, which is German. This is as a noun. It's an existence, a person, place, or thing. A theory is a person, a theory is a place, and a theory is a thing. Okay, so let's see, Latin, okay, from Latin theoria, a theory, from German theoria, a looking at. Theory is a looking at. Theory is a contemplation. Theory is a contemplation, and theory is a speculation. So, theory is a looking at, contemplation, and speculation. That is the source of words. No matter how the word is being used, it does not change its original meaning. It still holds that same energy despite how the word is being used. That's how we're able to use words in various different ways. But it still holds its original meaning, its original identification, because we use it in many different ways. Because theory is a person, theory is a place, and theory is a being. So when theory is referred to, is also identified as speculation and contemplation. That has nothing to do with absolute truth. It's just a way of observing a truth, a event, a action, a thing, a thought, an emotion. It's an observed observation of these things and coming to a judgment or conclusion based off of an observation, but it does not mean it is the absolute. There's that good word, absolute truth. Okay, because it's only a speculation. A contemplation, it means that something has been spent time into, but it doesn't have a definite and absolute conclusion. So it is not the truth. It is just a speculation of the truth. So when we're tying any type of word with theory, then we're learning that it is not absolute. It is not the absolute truth. It is just an observation, a speculation, or what's the C word? A contemplation on an event, a thing, a person, a noun, whatever. So this is where we come into belief systems, because people create beliefs off of theories of not knowing the absolute. They create beliefs off of speculation. We create beliefs off of contemplation and looking at. A looking at is not just a physical thing. Us looking at an object, looking at is a spiritual thing as well. When we're looking spiritually, looking at a situation, a past event, or a future event that we might go through, that's a form of looking. We have to see the spiritual essence of looking, because not only do we look with these two eyes, we're looking at situations and events through our spiritual connection to what is actually happening around us. This is what we do every day. If we know what we're doing, then we're able to use these things for our advantage as beings. Knowing that's part of our power, how we look at things, being able to see things, have clarity. But we have gotten off of the platform of natural principles. That's why there is no clarity and surety about things. Things are very uncertain because of the lack of clarity through theory, off of speculation and beliefs. based off of conclusions that individuals made, but we don't look at the spirit of these individuals making these decisions. That's the important thing. Whose speculation and whose contemplation and whose looking glass are you participating and believing in? Because that's your responsibility as a spirit, what you put your faith and belief into. And we're not able to identify that many of these things, that many of these systems that we operate on are of theory, because we're not informed about the natural essence of life and having the spiritual perspective of these everyday things that we are experiencing through our everyday lives. Theory is very important to understand, because that's how people get caught and get into belief systems in many different ways. And when I say belief systems, it's not just dealing with believing in God. This is what we believe. There's many things that we believe in. We believe that we're going to get to our job every day, or we believe we're going to make it here. We believe it's based off of our comfortability. Things that are uncertain, unclear is why we need to put our faith and belief into things in order for us to have forward movement, right? Because if you are not sure of something, then you are going to believe it to be a certain way based off of your speculation, your contemplation, and you're looking at a certain situation or event or person. And that becomes a theory, because you are not necessarily positive or absolutely sure of a certain situation, but it is your belief that carries you on to whatever move, to whatever action. That's why it's important to understand the foundation of belief and how we are supposed to use it. It's one thing between believing in God and God will take care of you, than believing in the steps that you need to make for yourself in order to get you to where you are trying to go, or what you're participating in, or what you're aware of. So, but one of the main problems is this world, this society, this whatever this is that we live in, that we live in amongst, is built off of many systems of theory, many systems of speculation, especially when it comes to science. And people really have an understanding of science and what that is, and how it is built off of theory, and how that interchanges with belief systems, and how we can get caught in ways of believing and systematic ways of believing just based off of programming using theory. Because pretty much anything that we're uncertain of is considered can be considered a theory. It's a speculation. It's an observation of information. That's a theory, just in general. Theory isn't just used in science, a scientific term. No, we can use that word however we're able to identify that energy, that existence. And then we're able to see how that existence is being used against us based off of our not knowing the foundation of theory and belief, and how powerful these words are, these existences are, because they affect our everyday lives based off of the things that we believe in and what we put our belief in. That's our responsibility. So it's important to know these things, because these things are definitely being used, and all you have to see is your position in this world that we're living in, and see what you're putting your belief and your faith into. Because that's not just about believing in God. What else? Because we're believing in a whole lot of things. Just based of our lack of knowledge, that's where belief comes into play. Because if you don't know, then you need something to believe in order for you to make some type of forward movement or action in your life, to have a sense of comfortability in times of uncomfortability. Because a lot of times when we're going through uncomfortable situations, in order for us to be able to spiritually get out of a negative state, it's good to have something to believe in, because it lifts you out of a lower state of existence, of not knowing, unclarity into more of a clear sense of operation. So it's also important to understand, because a lot of this medical terminology and stuff, it's good to understand the foundation of these things, because that's how you know how it's being used through theory. Theory is exactly what it says. It's no, I shouldn't say that, because no, it's not. But this is a good way to identify what it is. This is how it has been observed to exist in this life. This aspect of life of theory is through contemplation. We do that individually. Speculation, we do that as individuals. And looking at theory is very much a part of us. It's a tool we use as beings, not somebody else, just them out there that use theory. We are a part of that, is a part of us. And it's up to us and how the things that we use theory for and believe and put our faith in. And that is up to us to observe the spirit of the person who is giving their belief, their speculation, their contemplation. You would want to be able to trust those people that are giving you that information, because that's the spiritual side of it. It's not just the information, it's the being that is using information, the entity, the whatever you want to call it. There's different types of existences. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it does, because theory is definitely being used against people, because it has become a way of believing, and it's not giving people actuality, and it's up to each individual to know about a thing, a place, or a being. So belief is a power. Belief is not something you just give. We should just give. We got to know what these things are so we can see how they're being used.